lot. That is 12 number one qualifying right here in Bradenton. I don't know. Just start writing his name on the number one qualifying check when we come back.
3:56.7 at 219 miles an hour and change.
And we're never going to slow the turbo cars down. Everybody talks about horsepower, mile an hour. The turbo cars back half better than everybody else does, and they are going to continue to do that.
Let's run down what we're seeing here. Consistent Ken. I told him we're going to be calling that. A former U.S. Street Nationals champion, Ken Quartuccio, Jason Scruggs, Kurt Steding, Travis Harvey, Ty Tutterow, Kai Kelly, the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals champion, Stevie Fast Jackson, Erica Enders. Round out your top 10 is Mike Decker Jr. Then we've got Melanie Salemi, Spencer Hyde, Isaiah Rojas, and Kenny Lang. That is an absolutely stacked top half of the field, but let's talk about this. Top half of the field don't matter today.
Did not matter one bit last night. It was chip draw. That's where the excitement plays in. It is what makes the Winter Series events completely different. Yeah, we qualify. That's just to give you lane choice in your draw. But outside of that, got to drag them up here and get them down the racetrack, turn your wind light on.
Low-hanging fruit, we're going to talk about matchups. Obviously, if you have a pulse, if you have eyeballs, and if you have the internet at your house, you saw Stevie Fast Jackson and Kai Kelly drew each other first round. Listen, I may get in trouble for saying this. This ain't no TV show. That was real deal. Nothing scripted had to do with that. You should have seen us behind the scenes going when we figured out who they were running each other. Absolute marquee matchup on all ends of the spectrum. We've got both in the top half of the field. So that kind of goes right there where we talked about. Just because you have a good car doesn't mean you get lane choice, Stevie.
Well, okay, so I'm going to take the flow off. I'm going KTR at this moment. Last night while we were standing there in the tent, saw the chip draw, I had two emotions. One, for a fan, flow, it's awesome, right? As the GM for KTR, I burn it down. We got to turn on a wind light. We're going to break the internet. We're going back after it.
Some other ones we want to talk about here. I wanted to make this, I thought this was the marquee matchup. The final round from the 2023 World Series of Pro Mod. Kurt Steding, Spencer Hyde, again, both on the top half of the field. Spencer made a great run to get in. He was not in the show. That did not earn him lane choice, but that is going to be another one. They are both in the top 6 of the points as well. So if you're keeping up with that, that's a hitter.
Right, and let's make sure that we keep everybody at home. We only had 3 qualifiers. Your boy only made it down the racetrack one time. All right, I don't know if that's going to play against him today with the weather conditions.
But first out, the first thing that you were going to see, Erica Enders made a great run last night as well. She's got Maddie D, and if you watched FloRacing yesterday, that was the personality hit of the day. I don't care who you are. If you didn't know who he was, you're rooting for him today. But Erica Enders and Maddie D, first out. What kind of complications does first out give us?
Well, for Erica, I would assume that she's used to being up this early in the morning, maybe not so much.
This is the earliest she's been up in decades, I can guarantee you.
But it will, being the first pair out, right? And you've coming back in here, you didn't get a lot of test time, you don't have a lot of confidence. You just got to get in the car, strap your helmet on, and do your job and hope that your crew has your back.
All right, so we've got to talk about, obviously, there's a lot of other great matchups here as we're looking at Ken Quartuccio, Sydney Frigo, Kenny Lang, Lyle Barnett, but when we're talking about those 2 marquee matchups that we just did, if you've watched Dawn and I before, you know we do this all the time. I won $20 on the World Series of Pro Mod in 2023 from you. Let's go ahead and make some aggressive calls here.
So are you taking Kai?
You're going to have to take Stevie, aren't you?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Listen, Kai is coming in here hot, but I really, for the journalistic point of it, if Stevie Fast wins this deal, it turns the points upside down. But if we've got to go against each other, I've got Kai, you've got Stevie.
All the way to the scoreboard, baby. All the way to the bank. I burn it down. We got parts over there. We'll make it back up here for the next round, but we got to turn on a wind light.
So then if we're going on our second marquee matchup with Kurt Steding and Spencer Hyde, I picked Kurt Steding to win this race on the Shake and Bake show, but I may do an about face here.
Oh, I would totally expect you to do an about face so you can get a ride back to the hotel and to the Canadian border. I'm taking Kurt because right now, I do believe the number of consistent laps just to pull off the starting line matters today in these conditions. I got to take Kurt.
Speaking of conditions, it is going to be different all day. It is going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be the hottest we've seen. These guys and gals out here that you're seeing walk around the racetrack, they are going to have 4 different racetracks today,
yes.
5 different racetracks today. We may need to talk about some lane stuff later, some weather stuff, but right now we're going to paint a picture of a perfect race day. What we're going to have, watch the reaction times. We've got great graphics on Flow for you to be able to keep up with incrementals. There are going to be hole shots. There are going to be red lights. There is going to be tight races. I am excited. This is going to be amazing.
It absolutely is. And if you just think about the fact, we talked about it with Wes last night on the emotions. We went through the first part of the week. no testing, rain, cold. You're talking about this is 2 days in a row you haven't really had a beanie on. It's going to be 73 today. The grains are already higher than we've had all week. The DA is coming in. Folks, right now it is not chalk. It is absolutely a new chalk board. We're going to see where the slots get filled in here shortly. It's going to be exciting.
You have homework. Number one, keep it on FloRacing all day long. We know there's football and other things going on, but you've got multiple devices. There is going to be action all day long. Your second assignment for homework, our social medias, Bradenton Motorsports Park, Drag Illustrated, Flow Drag Racing. Let us know what you think. Let us know who you're riding with all day. We want to amp up these matchups and keep you entertained all day, so let us know. We'll feature it on the social. Guys, here it is. Also, it's early on the West Coast. Share that stuff on Facebook. Make sure everybody wakes the heck up and gets ready for Pro Mod, which is coming around the corner, guys. I'm excited. US Street Nationals, it is time to go racing.
vintage road race up in Detroit a couple years ago, and dude just fucking rolled in about 15 minutes before we went on air. Couldn't have given a shit. Had no, he's one of these things where he's like, he walks up and he's.
I got to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors, everybody that participates in this, all of our media partners. We've got cameras all over this joint. Social media has been absolutely on fire today and all week long, honestly. Battled through the conditions, but here we are. The good Lord's give us sunshine and some warm weather. So let's go drag racing, guys. I'm going to turn it over to Tom, our chaplain with Racers for Christ, and we'll get this party started. Thank y'all.
All right, let's bow and express our gratitude and invite the Lord to come and enjoy himself with us today. Father God, it's great to be here in Bradenton. We love coming here. The series is just an awesome series. We're just so grateful for the sponsors that have put this together. But Father, today, right now, it gets down to business. We're serious. We just pray for each and every one of our drivers. As they come out here and put it all on the line, I just pray you'd have mercy on them, that you'd have your hand on them, and keep them safe. Lord, I pray for everyone in charge of this event that are calling the shots from the starter all the way up to the tower. Give them wisdom and direction and just the stamina they need to go through this day and give us a fair, safe, and competitive event. Father God, for our safety crew, we just pray that they would be bored to tears today, that they would just hang out and love watching the races, but keep them safe also. Father, for this nation, we just thank you that we live in a country where we can pursue our dreams like this, come out and do crazy sports like drag racing, and we want to invite you today to enjoy yourself with your people. So, Father God, we just commit this event up in your hands and ask for your mercy and your blessing on it, and we just look forward to what's ahead. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
All right, DJ John, let's remove our headwear, as the legendary Joe Costello would say, and stand for the playing of the national anthem. DJ John, turn it up. Let's go drag racing. Fire these things up.
And a beautiful look at the American flag over top Bradenton Motorsports Park as we fire the first pair of M&M Transmission Outlaw Pro Modified presented by Fuel Tech and PJS Racing. Brian Loans joined by track operator and half owner Victor Alvarez here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. We have finally arrived at round one.
Yeah, I'm excited. We had a crazy day yesterday of qualifying. And I mean, this first round, you couldn't have made this any better. Like the picks that we have coming up here today, we're in for a show. The only thing that sucks about today is that half of these guys got to go home right now.
Yes, on a hot saw through the middle of this field, and we start off with Erica Enders and Matt course, for those of you that have been living under a rock for the last 18 hours, you know that later on in this round, we have Kai Kelly and Stevie Fast Jackson, a first-round chip draw matchup that the drag racing gods chose for us last night. But right now, we started off with Enders and Matt Deitsch. Deitsch, one of a handful of cars that made the field by the skin of his teeth, but he made it this far.
Yeah, and this isn't a fluke. So they have a car and a good team that can be competitive. So let's see what they do here.
We look at the conditions. We know it is cool, but it is the most workable conditions we have seen since mid-afternoon yesterday. Temperatures still in the high 50s. The track temperature has come up to a nice kind of about 70 degrees right now. A little bit of a tailwind. We had a slight delay. We were planning on starting the program earlier. Had a truck strike a power pole, which set us back a couple of minutes. But in the end, it may have actually benefited the racers.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit more track temp, a little more time on the track. I walked it. It's really good. I'm expecting some fast times. There's just a couple rumors on the power outage thing. Donald Long might have been involved. I'm not sure.
Well, he made a promise last night that if it comes true for him on the internet, it's going to be a bad day.
It's going to be a very bad day.
So Eric Anders, of course, the 6-time NHRA Pro Stock champion of the world. She was a first-round winner at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals, trying to do the same to Matt Deitsch, the nitrous runner with Pat Busey Power out of New York, rolling that orange Chevrolet in. The first pair of the first round of the second race of the DI Winter Series. They leave. Both cars are clean. Anders is out at the finish line. 360 with a 4 at 206 miles an hour.
And Matt did his job.
Double aught one for Deitsch. Erica was 16, and Deitsch just didn't quite have enough horse. A respectable 365 in the loss.
Yeah, I mean, when you go 001, there's nothing else you could do as a driver.
He gets to leave with his head held high. That 65 is exactly where the car ran in qualifying. So it is a fast car. It is a consistent car. But he ran up against one of the world's best.
Yeah, you know, any other time that 001 would have been more effective. But when you go 16 next to you, it's not as effective.
Let's get a look here, this replay of that last pass you just watched. And this is the kind of racing we can expect all day long. We watch the two cars snap off the starting line. Both of them. Look at Deitsch's car hovering the front end.
Wheels up, just rolling. And look at that finish at the stripe. I mean, you can't get better racing than that.
Erica might have caught a corner of his fender off the starting line with that 001 light. She pretty nip and tuck the whole way down. That, of course, is Craig Sullivan. Sullivan has engaged reverse in his 1949 Mercury, and across the racetrack, young Zach Sackman. This is a car that is owned and tuned by Brian Karate.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I mean, to have these guys join us out here, it just speaks to what we're doing. You know, we have so many teams that stepped up that don't normally come out here, don't normally run door cars or pro mod, and they went and got cars and they put teams together and they're out here competing with the best.
This is a much tighter spread in performance over qualifying than we saw. And again, as a reminder, all these are chip draw matchups. Yeah. We did not qualify off a ladder, but what we get in this matchup is a Zach Sackman car that went 362.1 and a Craig Sullivan car that went 363.4.
And two guys that'll do their job behind the wheel. So this is going to be a drag race. So we're going to be at the finish line biting our nails here.
Steve Petty leaning in to whisper into the ear, or maybe scream into the ear of Brian Karate. And that is also Bob Gardner, the guy with the headset on. Gardner, a longtime pro mod racer and tuner, standing behind the race car, working with Brian Karate. What I find interesting about this particular pairing, Craig Sullivan really made his name in the world of top dragster racing for years before he went into pro mod, and that's exactly where Zach Sackman's coming out of as well.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like I said, these are two really good drivers. So honestly, this field that we have, any car can win and any driver can win. This is the best of the best of the best, period, end of discussion.
It was a fantastic final of qualifying last evening under the lights here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Some cars bumping in, some heartbreak of those being bumped out. The best 32 cars in the nation are the ones we're looking at here in the first round of eliminations. You want a 49 Mercury or you want a late model Camaro? Pick one and ride with them. Here we go. They leave off the starting line. Sackman was out first, and Sackman goes a 62 at a speed of 205 miles an hour. Neither guy really cut the tree down here, but Sackman was out first, beating a 66 for Sullivan.
Yeah, their nerves might have got him right there, but still a good drag race.
And again, we talk about the quality of the surface here. The first two pairs of cars laid down very representative runs from qualifying, and they're both clean.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about this yesterday. A lot of guys, you know, what they'll do on race day differs from what they'll do in qualifying, but these guys they're letting it eat.
Now we get a look back here. We're going to watch the two cars leave. 200s on the starting line, barely perceptible to the naked eye, but certainly perceptible in the time slip. And for Craig Sullivan, about a car length of differential in the wrong end as Matt Sackman will advance on to the round of 16. Travis Harvey and Cameron Hensley coming up right now. Hensley was jumping up and down to try to be the same height as Harvey during their photo last night.
And this is, I think, Cameron's relatively new at driving this car, but he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, if I didn't just say that, you wouldn't have even known. Obviously, everyone knows Travis Harvey, and he had a great year last year, and he's a hell of a driver. But this is going to be a good race.
I would argue, and you never want to be staged next to Travis Harvey, under any circumstances. But the double negative here is that Hensley and the Coast Packing Company Camaro comes in at about a 300s differential backward. He ran 62, Harvey ran a 59. So not only can you not give the guy any leash on the starting line, which is impossible, you may actually have to try to get an advantage on the lead.
No, yeah, if I'm Cameron Hensley, I'm trying to lead first. I think that's a huge factor for him to get this W. So I'm sure that's what they're going for, and we'll see. Travis Harvey look like they're having something going on down there. Hopefully they're good.
I think they want to reposition the car a little bit.
Okay.
Jamie Miller ran up there, and they're giving a little bit of a realignment.
Honestly, too, the best thing about drag racing is that even though one car is faster than the other on paper or whatever, we don't know. We have to just wait and see what will happen.
Bottom line, end of story. I always talk about the most fascinating space on a drag strip is what's between the two ears of the driver. And we're going to see what's between those two ears right now.
Yeah, and I always say there's a lot of ways to lose a drag race, and there's only one to win.
Right. Inching ahead is Harvey. Hensley already sitting in a pre-stage bulb. A pair of heavyweights here stacked up. Can the upstart Hensley knock off the veteran and legend, really, in his own time, Travis Harvey? Here we go. Oh, boy. A beautiful run by Hensley, but Harvey goes 59 with a 1, and he snapped off an 18 reaction time. He had a half a car length before they got to 60 feet. Hensley goes a respectable 60, but that baby was done.
Hensley had an ET that he could have actually won that race. He would have had to have been killer on the tree, and he just happened to miss it.
And this is a guy in Travis Harvey, you don't want to keep giving him kicks at this Christmas tree, nor do you want to keep giving them to Eric Anders, who is 16 on the tree and is with Don O'Neill.
And I think Travis Harvey really, really, really wants to win one of these deals.
Eric Anders, you're keeping your trend going here. First round winner at Snowbirds, first round winner there. Matty D tried to chop your head off.
He did. He was going for the jugular this morning. I was joking earlier. I ain't been up since that early when we did two-a-days in high school. But, definitely had to do some jumping jacks, get the blood flowing this morning. But this car is a real treat to drive. Chris Terry has a great handle on it. It's super consistent. We went another 60 right there, and I finally hit the tree. So hopefully that's an indication about how today is going to go. They've given me a great race car. It's time for me to step up to the plate. So I'm looking forward to the day.
Folks, stay tuned. Round number 2 coming up.
Back to the pits to service that Elite Motorsports machine. And now we look, of course, on one side it is Kurt Steding. On the other it is Spencer Hyde.
This is a rematch.
Yes.
This is a rematch of World Series of Pro Mod 2023.
Yep.
Spencer Hyde got the best of it that time, but let's see what happens. I'm sure Kurt Steding wants to get this win for multiple reasons.
Hyde, of course, did exactly what he did at that race. Qualifies in the last session, his last hope qualifying run. Runs a 361. They had struggled the sessions previous. Meanwhile, Steding's car has been rock solid every round.
Yeah, and Steding's a hell of a driver. Hyde's a hell of a driver. We're going to have a drag race. And, again, we talked about this yesterday. In qualifying, sometimes you'll see some numbers that you don't expect to see in first round, and that is not the case today. Harvey ran almost the same thing he ran in qualifying in the first round of eliminations. That track is on kill.
They're absolutely printing tickets. So Spencer Hyde, unless you're living under a rock again, you know that Hyde is running a limited Pro Mod schedule this year. We'll be running Jim Head's Nitro Funny Car in the NHRA Funny Car Series. So he wants to make the most of these opportunities in this familiar emerald green Camaro. Both cars now creep ahead. Little tire shake early for Hyde. It's hanging the front end. What a drag race. Finish line stripe on 3:57.5 for Kurt Steding. A back-breaking run out there at 209 miles an hour. Hyde wicked it up to a 59, but it is going to be Steding.
Yeah, and Steding was killer on the tree. They both did a great job, but Steding, like I said, he was there to prove something. He was there to win.
Hyde's car may have given up just a little. It tried to wad the tire up very early in that run. He was able to drive through it, but that might have killed a hundredth or two of ET. But yeah, that's Kurt Steding killing some ghosts that were living in the back of his head.
I'm sure he's going to feel better about 2023 now.
Jason Scruggs, who came out of the gate with a 3:57 early in the weekend. As we look down that beautiful drone shot, he backs up to the starting line. And across the racetrack, Isaias Rojas will be in the Mech Tech Camaro. Now let's go to the top end as the Carolina kid, Travis Harvey, is with Don O'Neill.
All right, Travis, we done found the 50s and a reaction time.
Yes, sir. Man, I just want to thank my team, Jamie Miller and the guys. They giving me a heck of a race car. I'm just happy to be here and got that round win, and hopefully we can keep on going to the next rounds.
We're going to keep hearing the humbleness all day long out of him. Good job, kid.
It's unshakable as always.
Oh, yeah. And the best part about this, too, is that we have no idea who's facing who next round.
Yes.
We just know that there's a bunch of badass boys and girls still left. We don't know who's racing who.
So for Jason Scruggs, that brilliant run, you probably saw the replay of it. It's been going around the internet. It rode the wheelie bars to a 57. Isaiah Rojas of the Mech Tech Chevrolet Corvette will be next to Scruggs, who ran 361. Rojas did. Scruggs, the 57.9, his best effort in the Jerry Bickle constructed Camaro.
And Scruggs struggled a little bit at the Snowbirds and then came off the trailer with something to prove, and he drove the wheels off that thing.
The screw supercharger for Scruggs, the Pro Charger centrifugal blower on the Mech Tech car. Scruggs' car shakes the tires, he rides the bars, but it's over with. Rojas goes to the next round. Rojas goes a 362.4, a 205.6 miles per hour. Jason Scruggs a 9:12.60 foot time, but then it shook the tires. They left within 4 thousandths of each other.
They pretty much left together.
So for Jason Scruggs, the tire shake started early. He did a masterful job of pedaling the car. That's why you saw it leap back up on those wheelie bars. But unless you are picture perfect in this round, you are not going to advance, and that is a rough lesson to learn.
And, you know, again, that just goes to prove we don't know what's going to happen.
Let's look at a replay here as we're going to pay attention to Jason Scruggs' car, which will be on the right side of your screen. Watch Scruggs' car on the right side. It sets that middle course. You can see it wiggle the tire a little bit. Then it climbs up on the bars, but at that point, Rojas' car locked down and flying. The Mech Tech Corvette advancing on to the round of 16. Ken Quartuccio, the flat black Chevrolet Camaro, as tuned by Steve Petty, making his way back to the starting line out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Slightly south of Wallingford, Connecticut is a place called Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that is where Sidney Frigo comes from.
A little bit of a difference in location there, yeah. But that's cool. We have Brazil represented, Connecticut represented, two great drivers, two great cars, two great teams, and another nail biter. We have no idea what's going to happen.
And look, Frigo's car presents a little bit of a preview of coming attractions for a couple of the other machines, mainly Stevie Fast. His car, you know, these guys are team cars. Yeah. They run effectively identical setups. So if Frigo can lay up a big number here, it may give us an indication of what's in the tank for Stevie. And for Ken Quartuccio,
they share a lot of data, so I'm sure whatever they get here, they're just going to use to help themselves against Kai Kelly here shortly.
Quartuccio, of course, fell in the final round to Kai Kelly at the U.S. Street Nationals. Put a half a fender on him at the starting line, but couldn't finish the run.
Yeah, he got a little redemption in first round of qualifying, though. That was cool.
Quartuccio, a guy who historically, from his days of running Outlaw 632 here all the way up to the highest level of door car drag racing and Outlaw Pro Modified, has always fared well at this racetrack.
He loves this place. He calls it his home track, and he does always do well. I think since I've been here, I've been in the winner's circle with him a few times.
Both cars now set to run. Can Sidney Frigo stand in the ring with Ken Quartuccio? Wow. Oh, he's going to give it his best shot. Finish line stripe, but it's Quartuccio, 57-2.
Look at those reaction times. They left together.
Identical. 22 lights, a 57-2. Beats a nice, clean run in the low 60s at 207. Frigo gave him all he could handle, but Quartuccio comes out.
The car just didn't have enough. 357 at 209 in first round of eliminations, and I think he went 357 with a 1 in qualifying. So these guys are giving everything they got.
Beautiful look at it there, about half a car length for Quartuccio at the finish line, and once again Ken starts clicking him off. But a 22 reaction time, one of the keys to victory. Now let's go to Don O'Neill, who was with Kurt Steding at the top end.
All right, Kurt. I want to let you know something. You may be $20 richer, my friend.
Nice. You always count on Kurt, huh?
I always count on Kurt. I bet Courtney's you were going to take out Spencer. You made me $20 richer.
Oh, nice. Well, you know, we hated to pull each other. You know, Spence and I and their whole family, we're all friends. But I told them up on the line, I said, we can't be friends till the end there. And I'll tell you, Todd and Ty and everybody, they did their job. And, man, he really put a number on the car, and it just worked out pretty good.
Go load her back up. We got one more round.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Lyle Barnett, a man who is driving 3 race cars in competition today, this the quickest of the 3, will be facing off against a 2-time Pro Modified World Champion and Western Canada's Kenny Lang.
Yeah, Kenny Lang, he's got a hot rod. That thing was flying in qualifying. But Lyle's a driver. He's a wheelman, so we'll see what they do. I'm sure he's going to have the reaction time or try to go for the reaction time and have the advantage. And let's just see how it plays out.
Talk about intensity a lot when we talk about Lyle Barnett. He approaches every single round like it's the last round he's ever going to race.
Yeah, and like it's 20 grand on the line, grudge race, side bet.
Go time. The quiet-spoken Canadian or the brash North Carolinian. Barnett just absolutely treated Lang like a doormat. 52 reaction time for Barnett. Lang was late at 128, and that was the end of the story. And for Lyle Barnett, that is a beatable run, 374.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what happened there. The mile an hour is down. ET's not what I expected out of it with a 924 60-foot, but again, there's a million ways to lose a drag race, and only one that I know to win.
Tough break for Lang there, 128 in this first round, unfortunately, and in this crowd ain't going to happen. Now we're going to see what it looked like. Let's watch Barnett's car. They leave. Lang shakes the tires. He pedals it. Now we watch Barnett's car. The Pro Charge cars don't give us a lot of information, right? The screw cars get up on the bars, but it didn't look like it dipped the nose too hard.
Yeah,
hopefully it's not hurt.
Lyle did a good job. It moved a little bit early in the run, and he corrected it like nothing.
Ty Tutterow and Raymond Matos. That is Raymond Matos we watch now from the drone's eye view, making his way back to the starting line. Ty Tutterow came out and uncorked a 50 last night.
Yeah, 59 with a 5. I mean, another great drag race right in front of us. And, happy to see Isaiah Rojas and Raymond Matos. These guys come from Puerto Rico. They struggled at the Snowbirds, didn't get to make the field. They're here for E1. I'm sure just that, they're happy.
Absolutely. And for Ty Tutterow, former NMCA Pro Mod World Champion, a list of champions make up this 32-car field, champions from all disciplines of Pro Mod drag racing, and a multi-generational family in this style of competition, as Todd, of course, behind the race car, the Ty Drive Quick Fuel sponsored lipstick red Camaro.
We're about halfway through the field now. It's only getting better.
It is only getting better. And as you said, for Raymond Matos, you can almost look at him and think, okay, this guy's maybe in a different headspace. He's almost playing with house money right now.
Yeah, exactly. They're just happy to be here.
Yeah.
And those guys work really hard, and they're dedicated. I love watching them come out here. They went to the finals at US Street maybe 2 years ago against I believe it was Ken Q.
It was. Yeah. Typically, if you just say Ken Quartuccio final, you're probably going to be right around here.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think it was Ken. Yeah, it was Ken.
Yeah, it's two things. If we're giving away money for first round or for number one qualifier, Mickey's after it. And if we say Ken Q, he's in the winner's circle.
So Matos creeping ahead. Love the fact that Tutterow stages this baby unaided.
Yeah.
Don't need anybody up there waving him in. He's ready to go.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Matos was out on him. Matos was 12 on the tree, and at the finish line, it is a 3:58 at 209 miles per hour. Beautiful run by Tutterow, and he needed basically all of it as Raymond Matos strapped a 12 light on him and went 63.
Matos did exactly what he needed to do, and, I mean, he put together a hell of a run. It just wasn't enough.
60 foot times within 5 thousandths of each other. The two cars just chewing up the racetrack. 9:11 and 9:16 60 foot times. You can see Tutterow's car.
That was
it was tight.
Close race, yeah.
Joel Wensley completing the burnout in his Liberty Gears Chevrolet Camaro to look over to see the defending and 3-time Top Fuel champion of the world, Antron Brown, in his Lexus. Lyle Barnett's at the top end. He's going to give us some insight into that run with Courtney Enders.
With Lyle Barnett here down at the top end. Lyle, a very significant difference on the reaction time there, but your car slowed up, still got the win.
Yeah, on race day, that's not going to get it done, but in each and every round, the win light's all that matters. I don't care if you go 7 flat. Had a hole out the entire run, I'm pretty sure. Got lucky, really, because when you're talking about 32 of the baddest dudes in the world, that usually doesn't happen. Kenny Lane go up there and shake or whatever happened, but we got the round win, moving on, and looking to obviously going to have to pick it up to make it through the rest of race day, but my team's good at it, and we can do it.
We'll see you soon. Good luck.
Thank you.
The thing you think about cylinder out, good to be able to identify that. The scary part of that to me is you're probably talking an electrical issue. And you're a racer. You know that chasing electrical issues can be one of the most demonic things that happens in a race car.
Yeah, you think you got it and you don't. It's definitely a thing you don't want to be dealing with on race day, but those guys will get it figured out. I love seeing that Lexus over there.
Oh.
As an import guy, that Lexus is really cool. The history behind that car, that is the E-Canoe, or previous E-Canoe Lexus that had a bunch of world records.
All
and
of them.
name it, yeah. So that car used to be white. If you're wondering where you've seen it before, those guys got that car over here, Manny Bajinga's team. They put it together with a Pro Charger. It used to be a twin-turbo car, and it's run great, and Antron looks at home in it.
Joel Wensley is looking to take out one of the biggest names in the sport of drag racing here in the first round. Wensley's car has been running strong. We'll find out if he has what it takes to stop Antron Brown. They're off and rolling. Brown was out of the gate first. Finish line stripe, and it's Brown. And it is Brown on a hole shot. The first one we have seen today. 362 beats a 358, and Brown owned the starting line. A 23 light to Wensley 64. His reputation precedes him.
You can see Antron in the car. He is excited. That was a hell of a driving job by him. Great run put together by Wensley, just not enough.
That 58 is brutal, one of the quickest runs of the entire race. And you watched Antron's car actually seem to drop a cylinder momentarily, picked it back right up again, and he gets the win by the slimmest of margins via hole shot.
And Wensley,
Quartuccio, perennial finalist, is with Don O'Neill.
Wensley qualified with a 63.
22 and 22, but you're going on to the next round. It feels like so melodramatic.
Yeah, no, it ain't. Anytime you race Sydney and them guys, I mean, he's a true professional. I knew I had to get on the tree for him, and I knew it was going to be a good race. We've raced in any tree a couple times, and he's a badass.
57.
Yeah, we were hoping for a little bit faster, but we broke a rear last night in that run, so I'll take that all day long. Start racing today.
Go get ready.
Thanks, bud.
I mean, that's gutsy. You go 57, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I didn't know there was more left. I thought that was everything.
So now we see another guy who made the field on his last shot. That is Steve King in the Corvette, and he has the unfortunate honor of taking on the quickest man on the property thus far, Mark Micke.
Yeah, I love turbos, and I love seeing that car, and it's it's been beyond impressive. And everybody's always saying how the turbos, it's so easy to get down the track, and this, that, and the other. We had, I think, 6 or 7 of them here, and only one made the sheet. So not to discredit these guys and what they do. They work really hard, and they just have a really good program.
Micke went 356.7 in qualifying at 219.5 miles an hour. And so if you're Steve King, this is one of those things where if you're out on the guy, you're thinking, this is great. No, it may not be. It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, Steve King could think that he won all the way up until about 500 feet, and it could get bad. That's the worst feeling.
I think it was Stevie years ago said, I kept trying to look for more gears. The guy just came around me. There was no more gears left.
When you get driven around right at the end of a race, there's no worse feeling, honestly.
We'll find out if King can stave off what is a blistering, rocket-like move this car makes for the 330 to the finish line.
Who's going to go in?
They are taking their time up there, especially King. Micke goes through the process. King's out on him. Can Micke catch him? You better believe it. Low ET of the meet, 356.6 at 219.90.
And Steve put together his best run of the weekend. Great, they left together. That was a good race. You can't really ask for much more, but that twin-turbo car is insane.
The 60-foot time tells the story. King, the reason it was so disparate, he was 9:19. He was 400ths better than Micke to 60 feet, but then the slingshot, the afterburners came on.
Look at this replay. Let's
Watch
see.
This. Micke could definitely see King to about this point, and then he disappeared.
Wheels up. King was out of there, but not enough.
Now let's go to the top end. Our first hole shot winner of the day, Antron Brown, is with Courtney Enders.
We could see you on the racetrack pumping your fist in there. You came around the corner excited. You had a 58 thrown against you. 62 is what you ran, but a 23, man, you are a champ for a reason.
No, we're just out here trying to play. I mean, all these people come out here to play. It's hard just to make the field. Get through first round. We're now in the Sweet 16. We got to keep it going. We get more laps. We're just going to keep getting better, So this next lap, I think we're going to have to go for a 60 flat. We got to get closer and closer. If we get more laps, we get better, we can make it happen.
Last race day you're at home. Here you're competing. Good luck.
Thank you. Hold on. Jerome's coming back, baby.
knocking him down as he always seems to do out here. As we now look onto the starting line, the next pair up will be Scott Taylor and Andrew Handras. Handras ran a 364.5 in final qualifying to make the field. Again, one of the few in the proud nitrous cars that punched in.
Yeah, it's always good to see the nitrous cars out here. You know, it seemed like they were struggling a little bit earlier with the track, as everybody was.
Yep.
But I feel with the nitrous, it's a little bit trickier. And also Scott Taylor, you know, he came out, he's been testing nonstop. He didn't get to qualify at the Snowbirds, and I'm sure he's here with something to prove.
363 and change for Taylor in qualifying. As mentioned, 364.5 for Andrew. So in terms of their raw performance, at least what we've seen so far, almost dead even.
It's go time.
Andrew's motor's eating itself up, and there goes a 365.4, a 205. As you can see, the piston smoke coming out of the cylinder, the exhaust for Handras.
And look at Scott Taylor, just like I said, he's out here with something to prove. 13 on the tree, put together a good run. And, you know, as long as they can keep improving on that ET, because that won't be enough to get it done. But if he drives like that, they have something there.
Agree. If you can pick up a couple of hun there and be teens on the tree every round, now you get a fighting chance. Yeah. Let's watch Andrew Handras on the left-hand side. You're going to start to see it throw some smoke out of the right side of the motor first. It's missing over there, and then big backfire.
Yep.
Look through the hood scoop, and you can tell the engine is now out of power as Taylor kind of pitched it sideways through the lights down there. But Andrew, a valiant effort, but they ate one up.
Yeah, not enough, but, you know, qualifying here in itself is a big deal. So that's an accomplishment. Those guys will go home holding their head up high and get ready for the next one.
A man who lowered the boom on the field last night and who has done it this morning is Mark Micke with Don O'Neill.
Man, I don't know. 219.90?
I know, man. How about that? Woo, almost 220. We're trying to get there. So, yeah, how about that? Went back, repeated last night. 56 with a 6. Actually stepped it up a touch. Drivers got to do a little better. You know, I kind of saw the bulb too much. I saw too much yellow, and I'm like, oh, man. I saw him for a minute. But, man, you can't, you know, those guys are badass dudes over there. You got John Salemi on the keyboards. We couldn't let up. There was no slack off. There's no back off. You know, we just loaded it back up. And, man, I'm pumped. This is our race. We won this last year. Man, I've got the feeling today, boys. So,
folks, stick around. We're going to see if we can get it done.
We have arrived at the seminal pairing of the first round of eliminations. Kai Kelly, the winner of the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals, and Stevie Fast Jackson.
And people are standing up in the stands, and I have a feeling that there's a lot of money being bet right now all facility.
There is, and you have to talk about the fact that these two guys have jawboned at each other for years, but they've never actually raced heads up. This is the first time they have ever staged cars against each other. They have staged the internet and entire populations of this country against each other, but never actually raced.
Yeah, and it's crazy because usually when you have such a rivalry on the internet, it's because they've raced and somebody's won and somebody's lost. That's never even happened, and look at the hype around this.
So we can see Kelly's car is just at the edge of pre-stage. Stevie's going to wing the motor a couple times and then pull his car down into low gear and move it ahead. The amount of pride on the starting line may actually eclipse the amount of money that's flowing around down there. People have so hardcore picked a side in this one, it's beyond maybe anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, and I mean, if I'm Stevie, I feel like I've got a lot to prove. I do not want to get beat or sent home by a car with steel roof and quarters. Nobody does. Nobody here does.
Two masters of the art of their own domain. Here we go. Stevie Fast rolls in. Kai's waiting for him.
Here we go.
Stevie's car tries to rattle the tires. What a drag race to the finish line. It is Kai Kelly. Kelly goes 59.5 to outrun Jackson's 360. He left on him by 200. Kai was 36. Jackson was 56. And Donald Long, find a hammer.
Yeah, Donald Long, you're having a bad day, bud. And this is just the start. Kai Kelly did exactly what we expected him to do, pick up right where he left off, killed him on the tree. And, I mean, two great tune-ups, two great runs. But that one was going to come down on the tree no matter how you cut it.
That was an incredible side-by-side race, and we could watch both cars. Kelly's car continuing to carry the front end nearly 330 feet, and you can see at the finish line, it is Kai Kelly. In his third-gen Camaro will advance on to the next round, running again a 359. This guy, in this series of events, the points leader is still in, seemingly unstoppable. he's made nearly almost a dozen runs down this racetrack now over the last 2 races without missing one.
Yeah, no, and if you just look at the complete package of every run, he delivers every time. Killer tree, killer ETs. It's a pro mod. I don't know why anyone's trying to say that thing can't run with these guys. That's a pro mod.
Mike Decker the third, right side of your screen, and the left side will be, of course, Bob Glenn, a local racer, the only guy with a Rudolf on his motor.
Yeah, no, but he gets it done every time, and I think he does the best burnouts in the whole class every time too.
If you're going to be known for something, make it that.
Yeah, right. I get excited when I see a good burnout out there, man.
It gets people fired up, man.
I get fired up.
It gets people fired up. So Decker now trying to do what he has done many times at this racetrack, go deep in the rounds. What does Decker carry in with him as a performance advantage? Just about an exact 0.03 of a second. Ran 360 with a 4 versus the 363.4 that Glenn threw up on his best effort during the 3 rounds of available qualifying at this event.
My phone's blowing up in my back pocket. The group chats are going crazy right now.
I guess the question is for Donald, is it going to be a ball peen? Are we going to Carpenters? Are we going dead blow? There's so many options out there.
Yeah, that's going to be a really bad day for him. I would imagine that we don't hear from him for a couple of days, actually.
Look at Decker's car. Skybox in the front end, and he goes 361.6 at 208. A 368 for Glenn on a valiant effort, but what a package of a run here for Decker. 27 light, 927 short time, 361.6 through the lights. Nothing to complain about.
That's a package, again, that can go rounds and win this race. And Bob Glenn looked like slowed down. Not sure what happened there. The car wasn't its normal self down low either. Maybe they just missed it, or maybe something's going on with the car. But either way, they qualified 2 times now. The only Roots car to qualify both races. Great job to them.
Courtney Enders is front with the boss from the Bayou, Kai Kelly.
With Kai Kelly, he just said to me, I race like him, I burn out like him, and I said, now you win like him. You and Stevie lit the internet on fire last night. You said that was your final round win right there. Give us the emotion.
I mean, it's just, growing up, I just watched Stevie fast all the time, and, he was, I hate to say it, but he was like my idol, So to go out here and finally get to race beside him in a car in the same caliber as his and win, it's just fucking amazing, man. So that's a huge win for me. That's just like I won the finals, That's the guy I always wanted to beat my whole life. If y'all watch me burn out, I burn out just like he does. It's just, I don't know. It's a huge win for me. He's a badass, and if you beat him, you've done something.
I got to be one to say it. They bet on every single cone. They bet on the win line. There were side bets there. I can't count that high because I've run out of fingers and toes, but Kai Kelly, amazing job. The internet loves it.
I even got money from Phil Schuler.
Good luck, bud.
When you clean, you've done something as well, maybe beyond anybody else. I'll tell you what, yes, it's a first-round victory. There's a long road to go to finish this race, but there are moments in people's careers that will stand out, and that is going to be one for Kai Kelly. All the stuff he's accomplished, I discount none of it, but when he finally gets put next to a guy that so many people have said you are never going to beat, and you stand toe-to-toe with him, that's enormous.
Yeah, when that whole rivalry started, it was essentially just people comparing him to Stevie Fast and saying, you can't do what these guys do, and he just shut up the entire world.
Man, makes the hair in the back of your neck stand up. It's truly moments like that are really what makes you get up in the morning to come watch the sport like this and be involved in it. We now go back to the starting line. It is Ryan Hayward and Jim Whiteley. Ryan Hayward's car, very good, very fast. Also a guy you don't want to meet at Dark Alley. He's a monster. We saw him at the chip draw last night. My goodness, he looks like he can handle business.
Brand new car out over there, too, essentially.
And they're cooking up. That's a brilliant side-by-side, and it is going to be a 363 with a 9 at 207 for Ryan Hayward. They left within 5 thou, and Hayward simply outmuscled him, but only by 2 thou at the stripe and only by 5 thou, so a margin of just 7 thousandths at the finish line.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jim's going to be a little upset because, if you look at that run, you're going to say, man, if I was just a little bit better on the tree, I could have had it. But Ryan Hayward, hats off to those guys. Brand new car, essentially, just came out with a Pro Charger, 3 or 4 runs, qualified, and now look, they're going to round 2.
And again, just locked down to the racetrack, and that is what 5 thousandths looks like with a pair of Camaros at over 200 miles an hour.
Side by side the whole way.
Second to last pair of round 1. Mike Decker Jr. and Melanie Salemi, the LE Installations machine, completes the burnout there out of Buffalo, New York. Couple of East Coasters. I like this matchup because they have a lot of familiarity with each other. These are not two people who are unfamiliar with competing.
They were excited last night at the chip draw to get each other, so that was cool. And, a good race. We've got Mike Decker with a 60 with a 9 in qualifying, and Melanie 361 with a 2. That's going to be a nail-biter.
And Melanie has achieved big things at this racetrack down here. Decker, of course, a multi-time champion in the Northeast Outlaw Pro Modified Series. Contested up in that part of the world. Of course, we talk about Melanie Salemi. We talk about the legacy of the Salemi family in the sport. We talk about that Buffalo Mafia up there where you got the Stewickis of the world build the motors, Salemi. You got, of course, the Janis family. So many, it's a weird place that so many incredible door slammer racers have come out of.
Yeah, no, and they, I mean, you know, they've come out here and done well at almost every race since I've been here. Melanie's won the Snowbirds before. I don't think she's won US Street before. She said earlier in the week, but she said it's something she wants to do, right? So
got to put it on the list.
They're both going to make something happen here. I'm excited to see. Again, the worst part about this first round is sending some of these guys and girls home. Like, I wish they could all be here next round, but that's just not how it goes.
Melanie did win the first round at the last race down here, so she's trying to kind of keep that performance up. Decker Jr. lost to Kai Kelly in the first round, so Decker wants to make his way out of this round, but Melanie wants to do, at least in the early rounds, what she did last race and advance on to 16 cars.
Yeah, and that Decker team, they come to every event, and they come, you know, they have a good crew, good team, good car, and they haven't made their way to the winner's circle, and I'm sure they're looking to get there.
Second to last pair, only one of them will advance down to the Sweet 16. Melanie out first, front end up. Melanie Salemi closes the deal with a 360 at 207 miles an hour, a reaction time of half what Decker laid up there, a 42 to an 89, and then outruns him by a couple of hundo.
Yeah, that one was over when she let go of the button. There wasn't any coming back from that, but hell of a race still. Good, you know, hats off to both teams. 62 with a 5. You can't really be mad at that. That's a good run.
Stevie Fast did not escape the clutches of round one, but he's down at the top end with Don O'Neill.
All right, boss. I don't know. I feel like two of us standing here.
I think I slipped on some Cheeto dust up there on the starting line. That was a good damn race. A lot of respect for those guys. We bashed out on the internet. We make folks choose a side. At the end of the day, if you qualify for this field, you can win it. That race was for a lot of cookies. That one hurts. We're going to have to defer some interest payments on some KTR loans. But at the end of the day, that's a huge congrats to those guys. Jeff Pierce and Billy Stockland are doing a great job tuning it, and he's doing a hell of a if you're going to have thick skin, if you're going to talk shit, you got to be able to wear it. So I told him up there, I said, don't waste it. I said, you don't whoop me, you better win the race again. So I'm pulling for him. I was pulling for him last race. After we went out, I'm hoping to get it again. Thank you.
Sweet as the victory is for Kelly, as much as it stings for Stevie Fast, undeniably the two men did have respect for each other, as much fun as they've had going back and forth, and that is a very, very sportsmanlike way for Stevie to handle that.
And I feel the same way. When I get beat by someone, I want them to go on and win the whole thing. Just, you know,
takes
make
a little
make
of
it worth something. Yeah.
Jericho Balduf and Jeff Rudolf will be the capstone pair of the first round of eliminations here at the U.S. Street Nationals and M&M Transmission Outlaw Pro Mod, presented by Fuel Tech and PJS Racing. For Jeff Rudolf, the Ghetto Sleigh, a former monster speed car when it had the turbos on it. He's gone to a centrifugal blower.
I wonder if he's regretting that decision.
He keeps looking over at Micke, single tear running down his cheek. And Jericho Balduf, the Chevelle with a bat signal up. See what he can do here. Another damage to the finish line. It will be a whole shot win. And that whole shot will go to Jeff Rudolf. 362 beats a 365. Rudolf was the quicker car. Balduf was first off the starting line, but got outrun 31 to the 56 light of Rudolf.
Yeah, no, that was a great run. Balduf did what he could do. It looks like they might have just, you know, not had enough in it. That's all she wrote.
A fan to finish us off here, and again, we watch the machines leave the starting line. You can see Balduf's car up on the two-step, shooting some raw fuel out of it. Converter locks up, picks the front end up, and he starts to power down through, but Rudolf just had more horse to ride. What a first round. I mean, that is what, just the constant action, incredibly close racing, and of course high drama with Kai Kelly again.
And now the best part about this is we get to do a chip draw again and see who races who, because we have an all-star lineup ready to see the second round.
before I let you go, a month ago, there were some people when that chip draw was going to get pulled in the second round thought, give me Kai Kelly. Give me Kai Kelly. There is nobody on this property that's thinking that right now. In fact, they're thinking anybody but him at this point.
And honestly, I feel like you pull up next to Kai Kelly, and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of intimidation there. But honestly, you have everything to lose if you're in a Pro Mod car next to him. Because on paper, you are not supposed to lose that race. That's what the internet says. That's what it's supposed to be. So hats off to those guys. They are killing it. I think we're watching a star be reborn because he's always been a star. And, I mean, I think this is just the beginning for what those guys are doing.
Victor, thank you for spending first round with me up here at the booth. As always, thanks for having me at your facility. The place is great. The place is banging, as it always is. And I know you're going to be down at the starting line for round 2, but that was a blast.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And thank you for coming. And thank you guys for tuning in at home. And this is just the beginning.
Whoa, baby, a massive nitrous backfire here and manifold explosion on the starting line. He went to bang that thing through the motor, and he just blew the scoop to Kingdom Come, maybe the intake manifold off it. That was an unplanned exercise.
I almost got down on the ground.
Well, we'll be back in a little while to bring you the pairings for round 2. Victor's going to go see what's going on the starting line. I'm going to throw it back to the guys on the other side of the room and maybe clean my shorts out.
We'll see you in a little bit.
We'll be back with more Pro Mod action in a while, but make sure you stick around. The radio classes are up.
All right, so he'll push that vehicle off. They will, excuse me, Lester's machine. Hate to see that, but usually it's just cosmetic stuff. You know, they take it apart, and hopefully there's nothing, a hole in the manifold or a carb hanging off or anything.
It was a loud one, though.
Oh, yeah. I told you the last race when we seen one of those little pops like that. I saw one go over the Englishtown roof back into the staging. Were you there that day?
Yeah, I think everybody's awake now, especially if you're on both sides of the track there around the starting line. It got your attention quickly. Index cars, you should be back there. 750 should be in the lanes.
Once again, while it's quiet here, Steve, I'd like to tell you that the concession area on the tower side is only selling drinks and snacks. Drinks and snacks like chips and peanuts. So the food is on the other side of the track over there where the main pits are, where all the stars are. You get an autograph, go over there, get a great empanada if they still have them with the homemade pulled pork, homemade empanadas, and all types of great food they had here throughout the weekend. You'll get that on the far side of the track over there by the spectator parking area. But thank you to TBM Brakes, Motion Raceworks, M&M Transmissions, Energy, Rife Sensors, Fuel Tech, Precision Turbo, PJS, TRZ, especially in PST Drive Shafts, UPR Products who are on the grounds this weekend, Summit Racing. We thank them all for everything they do right here from Bradenton Motorsports Park.
Last call. 750 index. Last call.